Hello orchestra! This video will contain some shifting instructions for all four instruments, violin, viola, cello, and bass. To get started though, a couple things just to keep in mind for all instruments before you jump ahead to your own instrument's spot. Here's the real mind-blowing thing. Maybe some of you have been thinking of each finger as the note. You see the note D or A on the line, and you just know that that's third finger, and you just think about it as third finger, not as A. But when we start shifting, we have to really make sure that we are talking about the letter name, because that place on the fingerboard can be played with any finger. It doesn't have to be played with just the same finger that you always do it with. And when we do that, when we start moving down or up the fingerboard, then we are shifting. So, for example, if I'm here on a violin, although it doesn't matter for anybody, but here's A on the E string, third finger. And so we may think of that as third finger on the A string, but we can also play that finger with the second finger. It's just like can third. We can also play it with the first finger. It's still the same note no matter what. So important to keep in mind. The other thing is, whatever your instrument, whether it's bass, cello, viola, or violin, start off with a little bit of shifting practice where we polish the string and we just lightly go back and forth. And do you notice what's happening to my wrist while I do this? And again, true for all instruments. When we shift, we want our whole arm to go up and down. We don't just grab on and just a lot of times I see students wanting to do this is shifting. No, that's just a super wide vibrato. We want to make sure that we are moving our whole hand. So on cello and bass, again, whole hand. We don't just kind of go like that. We shift the whole hand when we are moving. Okay, so that's it for intro stuff. At this point, you can jump ahead to wherever your instrument has their instruction. And I'm going to start with violin. So violin, we are going to learn, for night shift, we have to learn third position. And third position is when, just like I was saying in the intro, where we have third finger on that tape, instead we put our first finger there. Think of it like this. First position, the first finger's on the first tape. Second position, you're on the second tape, or maybe low. And then third position, that tape is for the first finger. Okay? So when we do that, we have A. Check it with your open A. Hopefully they're an octave apart. And then we go A, and B is with 2 instead of 4. And we're going to keep that 3 out. See, I still have the same spacing between all 3 notes. A, B, C sharp. And then D is going to be right next to it. Rub that pinky up against the 3. And that's D. And if you got it right, it's 2 octaves above that. So here we go. We have A, B, C sharp, and D. Make sure that wrist is straight, just like it is back here. Okay? All right, so I hope that helps. Now you can actually play a D scale going from what used to be your high D. Now it's just plain old D. Welcome to the club. So D, E, low 2 for G. And then after we play that low 2 G, we shift 1 on A. Shift to low 2. So play around with that and have some fun with that. Hope that helps. Okay, violas. Your instructions are pretty much the same as violin, but just down a fifth. So again, we are working on shifting from the third finger. The high D is now going to become first finger when we go to third position. Okay, so go ahead and move that finger to the third tape, first finger on the third tape. That high D, you can now play that high D like that. Okay, so then we're going to just practice putting all 4 fingers down. So we have D, E is where the 4th finger used to be, and then high 3, so it's the same spacing all along, F sharp, and then low 4 for G. So you see we have a whole step spacing, and then half step right next to that. That's our hand frame. So G, F sharp, E, D. So that high G is this 2 octaves above your low G, like that. Okay. So now believe it or not, I can actually play an even higher G major scale than before. So watch this. We'll play G, start on the G on the D string. G, A, B, C natural, low 2. And then after that, instead of putting third finger down on the D, I'm going to shift to my first finger. And then shift down to low 2. Okay. So let's try that G scale up and down one more time, just so you can kind of watch my fingers and try it with me. So I'm going to play 2 quarter notes on each note of the scale. G, A, B, low 2, C natural. Now shift 1. Okay, so that's that. And don't use my position. I'm turning so you can see me in the camera there. But I hope that helps you understand third position a little better. And have fun with that, and see you in class. Okay, cellos, here's your section. And you'll notice on this particular cello, I only have 3 tapes, the A, C sharp, and D on the A string. Many of you may have a 4th tape, which is fantastic. That's going to make this a little easier. But even if not, I know that we've been working on high E. That's a whole step above the D. So if you have just the 3 tapes like this will be helpful to see where I shift. But if not, you can just kind of see what I'm doing here and use your ear. All right? Okay, so your third position. After we have D, we're going to shift to the E with the first finger. Okay, so maybe try just that shift, practicing a little bit. So go D to E with a 1, back to D to a 1. Like that. All right, and then we're going to add the other notes. D, shift to E, and then third finger F sharp, and then fourth finger G. Like the low G, just 2 octaves higher, okay? So let's try that again. Here we go, 2 notes each. We have D, shift to E, and then just put your third finger down, and then fourth finger. Okay? So now that we know those notes, we can actually play a G scale, not starting on our low G, but on the G on the D string. So it can go like this. A, C natural, then your fourth. Now shift to 1 to the E. If you find you're getting a little squeaky, also make sure that your bow is nice and close to the bridge. As we play higher, if your bow tends to creep up, it's going to make a less good tone. Let's just put it that way. So make sure that you have that bow nice and low. Okay? So that's the gist of third position for you guys. Just as long as you can find that E with the first finger, everything else just putting more fingers down. Hope that helps. Okay, bass players, so here is your section on shifting. And yes, we've been shifting for a while, but night shift requires a few new things, a little bit of an extension of what we've done so far in class. So for the G scale, we start off just normal. And then, of course, C natural. Now, here's where the change happens. After D, we need to play high E. So we have to move our fingers, just like we did here, from there to 1 finger. We're going to do that same thing. We're going to move our hand up. So 1 to E, 4 for F sharp. And then we just touch for the G harmonic. I'm almost out of my camera range. So maybe the first thing to start to do is to play your open G and then find that what we call touch tone or a harmonic. It's exactly the middle part of your string. If you were to measure your string, the halfway point would be that harmonic. That's high G. That's where we're going, okay? All right. And then, and however you do that. The other thing that's different is up to this point when we shift, everything goes together, right? My thumb goes along with the hand. Every time we shift, it goes together. Now, though, we're going to run out of neck. See, there's this heel here. So when we go up, when we go to that E, our thumb kind of stays to the side. Okay? And so that's always kind of weird. It's like, well, what do I do with this thumb? Do I bring it around? No, no, no. You just kind of keep it on the side there, just keeping your place, and everything else kind of goes. So maybe try polishing the string a little bit like this. Just get used to that thumb expanding and coming back and all that. All right, let's try that again. Let's start from the C and the D. And then D. Now shift the first finger all the way up. Don't be shy, get all the way up there. F sharp. And then just a little half step to G. Watch how little my pinky moves. That's it. To go down, and then just a little down to F sharp. All the way to 1. Shift back to 4 on D. So the real trick of all this is really just about getting your first finger far enough. A lot of times I see bass players, they don't want to go far enough. They just go a little ways past D. But just like this is a whole step right here, 1 to 4, we need to move that same amount, a whole step to E. Okay? There we go. Now the first finger C, 4th finger D. Now first finger E. Now 4th finger F sharp. Good. And if you find that E and F sharp are just kind of sounding like that, you're just probably getting used to coordinating the squeeze the right way and sinking in the right way. So just make sure that that pinky is working with all your other fingers and you're pushing the string all the way down to the fingerboard so you get a nice clear tone on that. All right, I hope that helps.